What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. As of this moment in the start of this video, it is July 12th, I believe. Let's check. Yep, July 12th at 6:10. Today we're going to attempt to change out the steering column to an S13 steering column, change out the ignition, the everything. Just have it a whole new column, and hopefully not have that bad of an angle right there. Maybe dent the bottom, like dent right here on the firewall or so. Get that column a little more better, because I'm afraid right there at full lock or something they might rub. I just don't want that, and I want a whole new union there. Just a bunch of benefits from doing this. But here's the rack I got from my buddy Devin. See, this sucks a lot further down in. Mine comes out to be like right here, so the angle's real harsh. I can cut this boot back or get rid of it and make a different rubber boot, and it's tilt. I can get a S13 like plastics that go around this. Change out these two things. Maybe. We gotta take measurements and stuff like that, but we gotta get this one out and then go from there. I'm gonna try to keep the steering wheel on for now, but we gotta take these plastics out, take this one out, and see what else we need out. Alright, we got that off. I guess we'll just start on clipping some things if I can one-handed. That one. Ow! Man, there's two of these. I didn't know which one went where. Might be one of my airbag lights on. Cause then there's this one too. They're the same plug. I don't know, maybe they're a little different. I don't know. This might all be worth nothing here. Man, what's the chances of this airbag going off if I unplug this? Probably should kill the battery. I'll stand clear, I guess. Oh, there we go. And our big plug down there. Alright, we got those all done. I need to get that little guy off of there. There we go. All that is unplugged. Let's bring it down and out of the way. Okay. Looks like the ignition won't be too bad. Never taken one apart, so Not really sure how you take them apart, but I'll figure it out if this works. But we need 2 12s, I think, and some 10 millimeters, 3 of them. There's 2 more bolts on this column, but they're too hard to get to. We gotta take that one out way down there. Alright, we got all the bolts out. Let's see if it'll come out. There we go. Woo. Alright, one column is out. And it is a lot longer than the 240. 240 is from mount to mount. It might not be that much longer. No, it's not that much longer. Give or take a little bit. I need to take that rubber boot off of this, because that's just not going to work. I need to make this one go over that. I don't know. Let's take that boot off and test fit. Alright, this is not going to be nowhere near bolt on, but this one here looks to be about right around the same measurement as the other one, but that one is about 1.5 inches off. So I'm going to cut that off after I originally cut this back plate off, like so. And I was going to put it on that column to line those 2 back bolts up to 100% centerize this column in here, but I'll show you in a second. You can't really, I need to get a mount going from here to there, and then from there to there. Triangulate that. It's pretty much where I want it. I'm pretty sure, at least close enough. I need to dent that out or cut that out down there. It's really close to mounting up. Definitely is not going to be near as harsh of an angle as it has been. I'll just have to figure out something, maybe a section of 240 firewall sometime to mount that rubber. It's somewhere over there. But I want to see about taking this bad boy off. If I can. Nope, not right now. But I want to get the clock spring off and disassemble that, get that clock spring off, and mount it all up. I'll probably end up getting an S13 ignition. Cause I just don't know if I can get that off. And if I got to get a new key anyway, since this plastics, I just test fitted them. This ain't gonna fit there because the column actually has it on the bottom. Plus, like when you mount this up, it's just not gonna work. So I'll get a S13 one of these, an S13 ignition switch, if I can get this to work. If I can get it mounted up and steering, then I could always just temporarily have that ignition off or something. I don't know. I'll think of something, maybe a push button ignition, so I don't have to order one of those. But yeah, keep you guys updated. It's a new day, and I already got started. Show you guys the progress. I had to, from outside of this measurement to the center, well, eyeballed center, was the same exact as this side here. So what I did is I made a measurement from outside to outside, and it was like 6 and an eighth or a 16th. Can't remember off the top of my head. I came over here, whacked this guy off, extended it out, made a little piece here, squared it up to where it was squared up like that one over there, and got her on, and now she's at the right length. This will go on. Welded it there, gusseted it all right there and around. That's better than factory in my opinion. But yeah, once that cools down, we'll get it on, and then we need to make our mounts for the back side here. That's this guy, which I thought about, seriously thought about, just cutting these little tabs up. It'll make it quicker, just slant them so it'll slide down on there. But I just don't know if I want to. I don't even know what that thing's for. Oh, it's to stop it from going back anymore. Okay. But yeah, let this cool down. We'll see where we get. Show the process, but got some pieces for that back piece on. There and there. I'm gonna take it off and make it look better and stuff, but for under the truck, inside the cab, that's all the best I can do. This thing is gonna be so much better than that other steering column. The reason I'm changing this steering column is I did this originally. I cut and re-welded that, and I don't think I did it square. So when you steer, like without the engine in it, and you steer, you can see that steering column move. Could be bushings, but I know for a fact. And then, like if you pay attention to the steering wheel, you can see it like kind of jumping. So that wasn't 100% center, like square, you know. But we'll take that out and get her fully welded. Here she is all finished up, guys. I had to cut a new hole here because the Frontier, I'll show you guys here in a second once the paint dries, but the stock lockout is at the top on an S13, but and bottom, it mounts to the bottom. The ignition is on the bottom. Got a little lockout there, has the ignition lockout. Once that dries, I'll put the ignition on. Here's how this turned out. I'm not too worried about the paint, really. We're just looking. But there's that, and here's this guy. All welded up. But yeah, I'll catch you guys once we put it in. As you've seen, ignition's in. Let's put it in. Got her in. What we need to do now is we got this little guy here. Slides on. I put it the right way. Three screws. We get our clock spring. It's got 4 screws. I don't really know if I think mine's broke, so I'm not too worried about positioning of this too much. Pretty sure mine's broke. Run these cables through. All right, we got the rack in after we modified it. We got the ignition on. Let's start plugging up our ignition. We got our ignition. We got our clock spring slash airbag. Get this little guy here plugged up. That's that little 2-pin coming off the harness. We got our plugs right here for the windshield wipers and the blinkers. Plug those bad boys up. Plugs up there, and then this plugs up. You guys can't see it. Plugs up at the very top. Plugs up there. Oh, and this blue plug also plugs up here on the windshield wipers. All that's back together. Now we got to go attach it to the knuckle or to the steering rack. We got our steering wheel mounted. I had to take that little section off the steering rack, the 2 bolts, to mount it up to the steering rack. But I want to take you guys along with me down the road Not very far. Just see how well it steers. Well, that switch still works. Sorry for the shakiness. The steering is so much smoother, not notching. Turn around right there. I'm pumped with how this thing drives. Sorry for the shaky camera. There she is. S13 steering column. I have to figure out how to cover that hole. That's another job for another day. Until steering works, I got my factory stuff on. There's like a little bracket I had to cut off and weld on the back side of this to bolt this on. And then the clock spring bolts to that. Steering wheel worked. I'm going to eventually get a, I don't know what kind of quick release and short hub for S13. Bolt that on, but she sounds good. Stay tuned. What's next? Peace, guys.